So time now to take a look at the morning newspapers. With me here to discuss them are the UK editor of The Big Issue, Paul McNamee, and international business expert Alison Stewart-Allen. So a very good morning to both of you. Nice to see you both. A mixture of front pages, quite a lot of them political. Paul, you've picked out the Eye to kick off with, which focuses on the fallout from last week's mini budget, which still continues. So what's the Eye saying?
Yes, after a week of mayhem, the Eye has a poll that BMG has conducted for them, and it says Tories rage at Truss as half of 2019 voters abandoned party, and they have found that this is not, well, it's no surprise, but this is not going away. The Trussonomics and the result of the budget have left people saying enough is enough, and some of the, beneath that top line, some of the quotes are, she's finished, letters are going in, she's a Conservative Corbyn.
Yeah, sorry.
And now the worries over whether or not her party are going to start cutting benefits is going to be even more damaging. It reflects where we are, really. This anger, concern, confusion, there is nothing settled. Just a week ago, we were talking about how possibly the Conservatives were plotting a way forward, and now it looks as though they have to work out how to dig themselves out of this massive hole that they put themselves into. We think that 2019 was about a lot of people lending their votes to the Tories because of the promises over Brexit, particularly around the Red Wall. Well, all those promises that were made on levelling up were not met, and now people are faced with whether or not they can pay for their mortgages, whether their pensions are going to be tanked. None of this comes as a surprise, but it doesn't look as though Truss and her people closest to her are making any change to policy.
Well, no, it doesn't sound like that, does it? Alison, Liz Truss has actually acknowledged for the first time, I think, that the mini-budget did cause some disruption, but she maintains it's still long-term worth it. They have a growth plan. They're confident. They say that will work. And there's an article in the Daily Telegraph. The Chancellor has now laid out his thinking on this, and a lot of it seems to be about a message of reassurance. We have done the sums.
Well, that's the goal. But, the UK is part of a global economy. And you can't just play to your domestic voter. You also have to be very aware of the fact that financial markets are global by their very nature. So if you look at the exchange rate with the dollar against the euro, he's needing to do whatever he can so that inward investment continues in this country, so that domestic investment continues. So I think he's needing to do a lot of reassurance, given the volatility we've seen over the last, 2 weeks, which has caused havoc for savers, for companies that are looking at exporting. The pound being this weak against, for example, the dollar is a real problem in two ways. One, the companies that are exporting are, of course, attractive to some extent because the pound is weak. On the other hand, they're having to buy supplies, often dollar denominated, to make the goods that they make, and therefore their costs are going up. So it's a very tricky situation right now, and anything that can be done to calm and demonstrate there is a plan is essential.
Yeah, and Paul, looking at what Kwasi Kwarteng is saying, he's trying to give reassurance to the markets, who in part seem to have been spooked by the fact that there wasn't an independent assessment of how the sums added up. So he's putting out this message of reassurance. The sums do add up. Yes, we've announced a big energy package that was expensive. Yes, we've announced tax cuts that were expensive, but we will get spending under control, which might be a reassuring message to the markets. But to people reading that, they'll be thinking, spending cuts under control means cuts to my public services potentially, or cuts potentially to benefits. That's not clear. I mean, there are worries about the impact this will have on people, aren't there?
Yeah, you're right on both those counts, because on the one hand, even though he says we've done our working out, as Alistair Darling, former Chancellor, had said they need to show yesterday, they're still not showing it, and they're still holding on to this November date to actually present these figures. So even though they have said this is the case, it's just their word. They're not actually proving that they know how to do it. And you're right, on that second side, this idea that what people are going to face is going to get worse, that it's going to be austerity Mark II, but even worse than previously, because with the previous austerity regime, the undercutting, the lack of investment in social services, the lack of investment in health, the lack of investment in every element of society has led to the jobs crisis that we have now, has led to the wages crisis, has led to the cost of to a degree, where we are with cost of living. And for that to get even worse, in order to give some rich people tax cuts, you can understand why people are both confused and angry.
And Paul, picking up on the aftermath of the mini-budget in the Daily Express, their headline, banks warn of house price slump. I mean, for people who are lucky enough to own a house, they're now faced with extraordinary pressures with mortgage costs going up.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite remarkable that the Express, which is usually a flag waver for every new Tory policy, is leading with something that is so bleak, because there's no way out of this. Their warning here is saying essentially, if the interest rates go up to a certain rate that people cannot afford to meet their mortgage repayments, they're going to have to sell cheaply in order just to meet the cost of living. But what they don't get to is the next problem along the line here, which is, well, where do people go? Does this mean that people are going to have to try and find rental accommodation, which is shooting up in price? Does this mean there's going to be a homelessness huge explosion? We're seeing it at the minute. We're seeing people getting thrown out of accommodation because they can't meet rent, and the eviction bans are being lifted. So this crisis, not to sound like a terrible doomsayer, but this crisis is not really being handled well on any level by the administration at present.
And Alison, let's move on to the Financial Times take on it as well. As you might imagine, they're focusing more on what's happening on the markets. And of course, there was a huge turmoil in the bond market this week, wasn't there? And the Bank of England intervened unusually and pumped a lot of money into it. But that money isn't going to go on forever, and the FT is focusing on that, isn't it?
It is indeed. So if you're a defined benefit pension recipient, then you're probably going to be okay. But, 65 trillion pounds has been pumped into the economy by the Bank of England to prop up the price of bonds. The asset managers who own those bonds are happy for now. But as you say, and as the FT says, in 2 weeks' time, the Bank of England is meant to cease that support. What does that mean? It means that the asset managers who hold these bonds are likely to go back to selling them off because they need the cash. And they need the cash to meet their obligations to the defined benefit pension holders, if you like, or pensioners. And so what's really at risk here is what happens to the bond market after mid-October, when the Bank of England is meant to cease its, propping up of prices. And so there's going to be a massive sell-off. We're going to see more foreign exchange tumult. And it's really a very unstable, uncertain time, I'm sorry to say.
And briefly, I'm afraid, another very serious and very moving story makes a few of the front pages. Paul, you've picked out the Times take on this, and this is the coroner's ruling on Molly Russell's death. Yeah,
it's so heartbreaking. It's a parent's nightmare when your child is getting a little older and they're going out into the world and find their own way, but they're being entrapped and ensnared by this poison that you don't really see and have no control over. And it led to, as the coroner has found, poor Molly Russell taking her life in 2017. She was just 14, and I don't think anybody, parent or not, would not have been moved by her father Ian yesterday and what he said after the report. But Prince William has joined the call for further action to be taken against pressure put on online companies.
That's absolutely right. We're out of time. I'm so sorry to rush you on such a sensitive subject. Thanks both very much indeed. I'll see you next hour. Quick reminder as well that you can contact Samaritans if you are troubled by any of the issues raised in that story.